Okay, we're going to try something a little new with this one. I'm not going to spend the first half of the video complimenting and saying nice things with a mini review. Instead, I'm just going to dive into how to fix things. How to fix Elden Ring. I will say I had a lot of fun with Elden Ring, but I also have a ton of complaints and fixes because while I'd still give Elden Ring an 8.5 out of 10, it is way overrated. I have played and beaten every Souls game. Pause for light clapping. And I will say this is the weakest Souls game. What? I know. Buckle up. Here we go. Elden Ring is a departure from other FromSoft games, as it is a huge open world. In fact, it will feel very Breath of the Wild. You see something in the distance and you'll wonder, what is that? And off you go, exploring at its finest. The problem? This open world is overrated and too big. I'm not saying it's a bad open world. In fact, the in-between areas are quite interesting and engaging. My issues are with the dungeons and the main areas. Those grandiose areas, castles and landmarks. While they are cool giant castles, that's all they are. Castles. Everyone lives in a fucking castle. And that's it. I think they were so focused on making a giant open world that they just plain forgot to develop these areas. And I'm not talking boss arenas. These are spectacular. I'm talking about the areas leading up to. I really would have liked to have seen some variation here that would coincide with the lore. Maybe a shipyard, a tomb, a cemetery, a prison, an asylum. Things like this. Also, the dungeons? Just remove them. They're all the same and serve zero to little purpose in the narrative. They're all the same, and honestly, they're the biggest flaw in the entire open world. This leads into the world being too big as well. When you duplicate all of these bosses and areas, you're sacrificing quality for quantity. It's the Assassin's Creed formula, and it's not a good formula. So, shrink the size a little bit, remove the dungeons, and now you have more time to design the main areas of the game. Open world fixed. Okay, this next part is going to be a little weird, but try to follow me. Elden Ring is either too easy or too hard. What the fuck are you talking about? I know. So they added a new mechanic of summoning spirits to help you in tough situations. The problem is these summons make damn near every big battle just trivial. Just summon and wail away on the boss while he's distracted. I killed almost every boss in less than 3 tries, save for a few. So you might just say, well, don't use these summons. Well, that's the interesting part. Okay, one, I don't think ignoring a main game mechanic because it's too good is a valid argument. Especially for a game that promotes the idea of win however you need to. Utilize everything in your arsenal. That's what these games are about. And 2, now the game is too hard. A lot of the bosses are super aggressive, almost all have delayed swing and cancel animations. They aren't unbeatable, but they are insanely hard and will take quite a few tries to beat. My solution? Remove summons and tone down the difficulty and aggressiveness of these bosses. This will still provide us with challenging fights like Radon, but not overwhelming like Malenia. I don't know why, but FromSoft seems to think they have to make bosses insanely difficult. Insert Malenia. A lifesteal mechanic and the water dance move? Fuck this. Take these away though, and now she's just a hard boss. This is the kind of change I'm talking about. I mean, everyone's favorite bosses from the whole series are the ones who are challenging but fair, with an epic feel and scope. Artorias, Lady Maria. I would even wager that Radon is the overwhelming favorite of this game, despite him not even being close to the most difficult. This is the goalpost for difficulty I'm shooting for here. Okay, let's switch to gameplay. One small thing here, because all in all, the combat is fantastic. The game controls well, especially if you're familiar with the Soul series. and there is incredible build potential, more than any other Souls game. And the Ornaments of War are awesome, adding that depth of combat that every Souls game adds. But one thing I would change would be an inventory indicator to let you know when you picked up something new. This would help you find whatever it was you just looted in the endless backpack that is your inventory. This would also serve another purpose. It would make it easier to piece together the lore. There is a lot of info in the item description you have to search through. This would make that a lot easier as well. This is just a small change, but it does tie into a much larger change coming up. Story. Okay, so the way Elden Ring tells its story is environmental clues, item descriptions, and very vague dialogue. That's it. It's up to the community to piece together what they can and infer what happens. This isn't anything new for FromSoft games, though. That's how they all are. But I think this is bad. I always have, I always will. The stories these games tell are very good. The character stories are amazing, and Elden Ring is no exception. The overall story of completing the Elden Ring is fairly strong, but the individual demigod stories are the real highlight. I'm not going to spoil anything, but if you want to see for yourself, check out Buy a Video. Link below. Really awesome stuff. But that's the problem. I learned next to none of this from my playthrough. Sure would have been nice if I had, but I didn't. I see this as a flaw. A video game should tell its story, and I would wager that 90 to 90% of the people who played have zero idea about how good the story is. So, to fix it, I would create a game mechanic that tells you the entire story. Something like the Master of the Archives or something. Someone who knows the complete history and lore. But the only way you'll get it is by returning pages of a lost book scattered throughout the open world. This goes hand in hand with the exploration. You bring him a page and he'll tell you a tale. Combined with some sparse cutscenes and more thoughtfully designed areas, the story will now pop and ooze everywhere. It doesn't have to be a full-on cinematic experience adventure like Uncharted, but I need more. So there you are. I couldn't really tear this one apart because it was a ton of fun. Despite it being one of my least favorite from the Soulsborne games, those games still kick ass. But with these changes, it could be my favorite of the series. Maybe. Be tough to dethrone Bloodborne. What do you think, guys?